Back. This is part 2 of Yoga for Complete Beginners. My name is Anna. I'm glad to have you here. You can start here if you'd like, or if you want to start from the beginning, go back to part 1, take that 20 to 25 minute introduction, and then join us back here to finish. So, as we talked about in part 1, often yoga classes start in a seat, which a lot of people call a comfortable seat, but for many of us, sitting cross-legged is not comfortable. Our knees are up here, just doesn't feel good in the hips. So option to sit on a block or a book if you have one at home. Lift the hips up a little higher. Increase that angle between your pelvis and your hips. Or you can extend the legs out wide or find a little diamond shape. Whatever feels okay in your body. It doesn't really matter what the lower half of your body looks like. We're going to start our practice focusing more on the upper half of our body. So however you would like to stay seated. And then close your eyes. You can rest your hands on the earth or your legs. Allow the shoulders to fall away from the ears. Take a few moments at the start of our practice to check in with how our breath is feeling. Check in with how it's moving in and out through the body. Check in with how our body is feeling. Our body feels different if we've just woken up, or if we're maybe just about to go to bed, or if it's midday and we've been moving around a good bit. It feels different if we've been sitting all day, or if we've had a chance to walk around more. And our body feels and moves differently if we've had a good night's sleep versus maybe we're recovering from an injury or an illness. So however your body feels right here, right now, just allow that to be what it is. No judgment, no wishing for things to be different. If it's comfortable, allow the hands to fall open, resting on the knees or the legs. Let's take a few deep breaths together. We'll reach our arms out long first, and then inhale, reach up. Exhale, draw the hands down through center. 2 more times like that. Inhale, reach. Lift up out of the waist, find a nice long spine. Exhale, hands down through heart. Inhale, reach. Exhale, hands down. Awesome. This time, inhale, reach. Draw the hands down. Connect the thumbs to the center of your chest. Maybe set an intention for your physical yoga practice today. Maybe it's to give yourself grace to allow things to be as they are. Allow your body to move in a way that feels good, not trying to force it into certain shapes. Awesome, we'll take another cleansing breath. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, side out. Draw the hands down. Awesome. Hands come to the knees, or if your legs are extended, you can rest them on the outside, but we're going to find some nice big circles. So circling the ribs over the hips. You can adjust the legs as necessary, just finding this stirring motion. And then switch, stir the other way. And we'll find seated cat-cow. So if you took part 1, you did cat-cows from your tabletop all-fours position, we'll find a similar movement with our spine, but from a seat. So as we inhale, we're going to reach our chest and chin forward. And then as we exhale, we're going to round the spine, tuck the chin towards the chest, puff up between our shoulder blades, find the C-curve shape. And then inhale, open the chest, broaden across the shoulder blades, lift the chin if it feels okay. So that's the movement we're finding. Inhale as we lift open, exhale, round back. Take 3 or 4 more full rounds with your breath. So this flow style class, we try to link our breath with movement. So usually that means inhaling as we find an expansive shape, like our cow pose, and exhaling as we round in or find a more contracted shape, like our cat pose. But if your breath matches differently, that's fine too. Awesome, so we're going to find all 6 movements of the spine. So we found this forward and back movement, and then we're going to find some side to side movement. So if you have a block or your book, you can place one on either side of your knees. If not, you can just reach for the floor. So sit up nice and tall. And then we're going to inhale, reach your right arm up, take it up and over. It's okay if you do the opposite side. We're going to stay even and mirrored. And then inhale, reach palms together. Left hand comes down, right arm reaches. Awesome. And then switch palms together and reach. Palms together and reach. So in this posture, we might be finding the inhale as we reach up, and then the exhale as we reach down and reach over. So wherever you land, stay there. Spin the chest towards me. Maybe you straighten that arm out, get some extension, or maybe you find a little bend in the elbow if that feels better. Try not to collapse into the shoulder of your grounded hand. Glue both sides of your seat to the earth and breathe. So now we're finding the side-to-side movement of the spine. Inhale reaches you back up tall, and then exhale, switch to the other side. Spend a few rounds of breath here. Spin the chest open, maybe gaze up at your arm. Feel the nice side body stretch. Awesome. Inhale reaches you back to center. Exhale, draw the hands down. Awesome. So we've done the forward back movement of the spine. We've gone side to side. Now we're going to take twists so we can get all 6 movements of the spine and allow ourselves to feel nice and good for the rest of our day. So again, legs can be crossed if that's comfortable, or extend them long, find a diamond shape. You decide what feels good. Inhale, reach. And then we're going to take our left hand to our right kneecap and our right arm back behind us. So sit up a little taller. We're going to try to twist from the center of the back, not the low back. Maybe you have the space for your nose to start to turn back towards your back shoulder. Inhale, reach. Exhale, twist the other way. Just almost knocked over my plant here. Sit up nice and tall. Gaze over the shoulder if there's space. So then that way we're completing a twist all the way up into the top part of our spine, the cervical spine or our neck. Inhale, reach. Exhale, twist. But you know if you have any sort of issues, you maybe need to twist a little bit less. Inhale, reach. Exhale, twist. So we're alternating sides. Trying to stay nice and even. Inhale as we reach up. Exhale as we twist. Hold for an extra round or two of breath on this side. Inhale, reach. Exhale, twist. Twists are also good for our digestion. Give our digestive organs a nice squeeze. That's why we tend to do yoga on an empty stomach. Get a lot of movement and twists going. Or maybe not empty, but haven't eaten in the last couple of hours or nothing major. Of course, you can have small snacks before you practice, and then hands down through heart. If you just had Thanksgiving, lunch, or dinner, probably not a good time to practice your yoga. All right, we're going to come over onto hands and knees. If you happen to have your yoga blocks, these nice foam props at home, great. If not, you can use, again, hard copy books that are nice and sturdy and place them, or a couple of them, on top of each other. We're going to have those there. So we're going to come into what we did before in part 1, tabletop position, fingers spread wide, shake the hips left and right. So look at your foundation of your pose, knees are hip distance apart. Fingertips are spread, place all 5 fingers of each hand down into the earth, find a neutral spine to start. And then just take a round of our cat-cows from here. Drop the belly, lift the gaze, take a big inhale. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin. Let's take one more. Drop the belly, lift the gaze, inhale, cow pose. And then round the spine, tuck the chin, cat pose. Awesome. Reset your knees. Extend your right leg back. Find a little length. And then rock your shoulders over your wrist. Lift your right toes up. Start to draw the knee into the chest. So it's okay if it gets stuck. We're going to help this right foot forward and find our way into a version of our low lunge. You might want to come up on blocks. You might feel comfortable coming up and stacking the shoulders over the hips. Even if you could get into a much deeper version of this lunge, we're going to all take our lunges with 90-degree angles. So I love to pad the supporting knee with a beach towel folded over several times, a blanket off your couch, or a pillow, so that you don't feel any unnecessary pressure on that supporting knee. Hands can interlace over the thigh. Just rest down by your sides, or you can feel supported on your blocks. Wherever you'd like to be, 5 rounds of breath here in your lunge. You might feel some pretty significant opening in the hip flexors on your supporting knee. That's okay, that's part of the goal. Just never want to feel anything close to pain. If you ever feel something this painful, back out. Awesome, we're gonna transition a little differently. We will come and do the other side, but we're gonna transition up to standing and then sort of flow back into this. So we start to get this idea of flowing and linking postures together. So, tuck your left toes, lift your left knee. Then we're gonna step our left foot up to meet our right. Feet are hip distance. Find a fold. Rest your chest on your thighs, big bend in the knees. Let your head be heavy. Find a little sway. Feel like all your worries are dropping out of your head onto the floor. And then start to straighten the legs. Maybe you come up to your blocks or your books. Find an inhale, half lift. So you're pulling the crown of your head away from the tailbone. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, root down through the feet, rise up through the arms, swing your arms all the way up to fingertips touch. And then exhale, hands down to heart. Awesome. We'll do that in sort of reverse to get back down to the floor. Inhale, reach. And then exhale, hinge and fold. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, find the length. So kind of a flat back is what we're aiming for. And then exhale, palm your mat. This time we're gonna step our right foot back, drop our right knee down into our support, untuck our right toes, and then look. We found our way back into our low lunge. Awesome. So find your low lunge here on blocks or hands on the knee. You decide where you want to be, wiggle around, find what feels good. And then find your breath. 5 rounds of breath here. So our hips and our hip flexors tend to be pretty different from side to side. So you might feel a lot more or a lot less sensation than you did on the other side. That's okay, it's normal. Find a few more rounds of breath, maybe move a little if you need to. Then we'll transition differently this time. So walk your left foot out, palms come to your blocks or the mat. And then sweep your left leg around. We'll even things out. So extend your left toes back like we did with our right foot. And then find a little bit of movement forward and back, stretching out your hamstrings. Lift that left heel up. And then draw the left knee back into the chest, rock it out. So we'll find our way into child's pose. We've workshopped it a bit in part 1. Knees can come wide if that's comfortable. Start to drop the hips towards the heels. You may place a block or a book or a rolled up towel or blanket underneath your head. Walk your fingertips forward. So we're melting the hips back towards the heels. If that feels like too much, just bring the hips higher. You can also place another rolled up blanket between your knees so it's not so much pressure. Just take another round of breath. And slowly walk your hands back. We're going to move into down dog. We worked through it a little bit in part 1. So a couple of things that happen in down dog. We want our body to find a version of an upside down V, but we want our foundation to be super strong. So just like in our tabletop, we want our fingers spread nice and wide. We don't want any Spider-Man fingers. Doesn't give us enough support. If you think about building your house, you don't want your house on a shaky foundation or not enough support. So walk your fingers out wide. Thumbs and first finger point straight away from the top of your mat. Tuck your toes, lift your knees, engage the core. Just lift the knees an inch and release. Lift the knees an inch and release. One more time, lift them up, and then start to straighten your legs. Don't bring them all the way to straight. And then bend one knee and then the other. So we're pressing our chest towards our thighs. We're keeping a little bend in the knees. And then our fingers are spread nice and wide. Don't lock out your elbows. Find a little bounce if you need to. Shake your head yes and no. So we want our spine to be nice and straight. Press your chest towards your thighs. Bend deeper into the knees. Awesome. Take a big breath in. Big breath out. Start to walk your feet towards your hands. You can always have your blocks here for your half lift if that feels good. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. We'll stay in the fold for a bit. Big bend in the knees. Find that ragdoll version of our arms. Grab for opposite elbows. Head is super heavy. Find a little sway. We're releasing the spine. Finding an inversion where our head is lower than our heart. Tells our body it's okay to rest and relax. Everything is good. That's the signal it's sending our body. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root down, rise up, reach, palms touch. Exhale, come to center. Awesome. So maybe you don't feel like your body's sending signals that everything's okay because yoga is really new to you and everything feels like a lot of effort and struggle. That's okay. Just know that physiologically, when we have our head lower than our heart, tells our body that we can rest and digest, and it kicks off our fight or flight. So we get a lot of inversions in our practice, our child's pose, our down dog, our forward fold. Lots more than that, but those are the good base ones we've done so far. So shake your legs out. We'll do another round of a modified sun salutation, and then we'll bring it all back together. So inhale, reach. Exhale, hinge and fold. Now some people open their arms wide and fold. I tend to prefer to bring my hands down through the center and fold. It's totally your choice. Inhale, lift up halfway, find length. Crown of the head pulls away, finding that flat back. Exhale, fold. Palm your mat, step back 1 foot at a time. Plank, we're not holding it. Drop to the knees, untuck your toes. You can skip this part, or if you want to work towards it, rock your shoulders over your wrist. Elbows go straight back, gaze forward, slowly lower yourself to the earth, all the way onto the belly. And then we'll work our baby cobra pose. So elbows squeeze in tight, shoulder blades marry together. And then inhale, lift up an inch or two, using the strength of the low back. Exhale, release. 2 more baby cobras. Inhale, lift up. We're not pressing into our hands to get up. We're using the strength of our low back. Release. 1 more. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, release. Start to take your hands over your head, stack your palms, lift your heels, drop your head to your hands, and just rock your heels side to side. Give the low back a little bit of relief. And then hands come underneath the shoulders, draw the shoulders back, press yourself up and back. You can go through tabletop. You could go to child's pose for a few rounds of breath. We're going to go back into down dog and do 1 more round, complete that sun salutation, just to kind of get the feeling of it in the body. So tuck your toes, lift your legs, maybe bend one knee on the other. Walking your dog is what we call that. Shake your head yes and no, make sure it's nice and heavy. Big inhale in your down dog. Exhale, let it go. Step towards the front of your mat. Inhale, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, fold, big bend in the knees. Root down, rise up, reach, palms touch. Big inhale overhead. Exhale, hands come to heart. Awesome. Reset. We'll flow back down. Inhale, reach. Exhale, hinge and fold. Nice and slow. Inhale, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, palm your mat, step back 1 foot then the other. Find your plank. Drop to the knees. Rock your chest forward. You're going to land your chest between your thumbs. Elbows squeeze back, squeezing into the ribs. Gaze forward. Slowly release. 1 little cobra this time. Elbows, shoulders draw back. And let it go. Tuck your toes. Press yourself through tabletop. And then back to down dog. Awesome. Drop to the knees. Swing around. So that last one we went through a little bit faster. That is a full round of a sun salutation. It's often a way that classes tend to start, or that is the foundation where they build other postures on to the sun salutation. The little version part in the middle where you step back to plank and you lower down, take a little baby cobra and then press back is often called a vinyasa on its own, which is also the type of class format a lot of people teach. Or a teacher will cue the term take a flow, and that would be the stepping back to the plank. Some people choose to do high plank, low plank, and then something called up dog, and that is called doing a full chaturanga. So if you hear those terms like take a flow, flow back through chaturanga, that kind of thing, I urge you to take knees, chest, chin, which is this version we've been practicing. The high to low plank is not super accessible for most people. It's not something I practice. You're welcome to do it if you have the upper body strength already and you feel really confident in the form. But make sure someone helps you with that if you're newer to the practice. I will always cue knees, chest, chin. So this, coming from here, lowering, and then finding either a cobra or an up dog, I cue cobra, and then pressing back either through child's or down dog, and then that would often be something that happens between sides. So you might do a series of postures with your right leg, take a flow as the teacher would say, and then do the same series of postures on the left leg. So we'll work through a little bit more of that. We'll do some standing postures next time in part 3, that hopefully that sun salutation starting to feel a little bit more rhythmic, and we worked with some lunges too. So let's close our practice on our backs. And I'm cheating you a little on the length of your Savasanas in these little mini classes because the class itself is not that long, and I want you to feel that you can stop right here and move on to part 3 if you'd rather. But if you want to close your practice here, relax your way onto your back. Often classes end with inversion, so getting our hips above our heart, and then also finding some twists. So let's take a gentle twist together to close class. Draw the right knee into the chest. You can keep the left leg bent or extend the left leg long. And then we're going to pull our right knee across our chest. So if you feel like you need to create a little more space first, pick up your hips, move them to the right, and then draw your right knee across your body using your left hand. You can extend your right arm out long. Complete that full twist in the spine, just like we did seated. Find some breath, breathe into your right hip. And slowly turn your head back to center, draw the knees back into center, and switch to draw your left knee in, or first pick up your hips and move them to the left, then draw your left knee into the chest, right leg extends long, left arm comes out into a T or a half T to brace you, and then take your right hand on the outside of your left knee, draw that left knee across the body, then gaze over your left shoulder, getting a nice twist to end your class. Awesome. Return your head to center, return your legs to center, reset your spine. Draw your knees into your chest, give yourself a squeeze, a little hug, and then release. We'll take a final resting pose together. If the low back has any issues, you may want to keep your feet on the earth, allow the knees to fall in. Find that constructive rest pose that we did in part 1. Or if you want to Shavasana with legs extended, extend your legs long, maybe place a blanket underneath your knees to relieve a little bit of that low back pressure. And then hands can come wide, resting back to the hands on the earth, or stacking palms on your chest or your belly. You decide where you're most comfortable. And we'll be here for a few rounds of breath in stillness and in silence to seal our practice. big breath in. A big breath out. Draw one foot in, the other. You can rock over to one side. Gently start to press yourself up. Come up to a seat or any other place to be comfortable to close your practice. And again, normally our final resting pose would be a good 5, 6, 8 minutes. But since we're having short classes, we're having short Savasanas. So if you'd rather stay rested, stay on your back, take another few minutes. If you'd like to close class, you can bring your hands together at your heart or stack them on your chest. Allow the eyes to be heavier closed. Take a moment to find gratitude for your body and your breath. Gratitude for the ability to move in new and interesting and different ways. Gratitude for your ability just to walk down the street. Reminding ourselves not to take these things that feel every day for granted. And take a moment to remind yourself that you are enough, just as you are right now. You have always been enough. You will always be enough. No change is needed. No apologies necessary. Taking this feeling of gratitude for our bodies and our breath and our movement together in community, online. And this reminder that you are enough with you through the rest of your day and your week. It's truly my honor to practice with you. Thank you so much, yogis. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for doing something new and or difficult. This has been part 2. Hopefully I will see you in part 3. Thanks so much. Have a great day.